Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another update video and episode, I guess you can call it. I think today probably working on some brake lines, tidying up a few things on the engine and transmission, just getting the torque converter bolted up, that kind of thing. Simple stuff, nothing crazy. I did get some of the, I guess, the more common little things that you just don't really think about done. Well, I got them done. I got the parts in. We got our transmission dipstick, our engine oil dipstick in, so we'll put those on. Just little things that you really don't really think about. If you would have gotten a junkyard engine, you likely would have had those. Technically, this was kind of a junkyard engine, but basically, long story short, my original Gen 4 block was no good. Gen 3 block is what we went with from the engine builder. Just bought it off him. Didn't have all that stuff. So we got to work on getting some of those little things on there that you would normally have. Get them on there because, you know, all the little things add up too. That's what I'm really discovering right now, especially when you're going to buy stuff. You know, you may have a budget and a plan for all this stuff. You may be thinking about all the big things, whether it be your cam, your accessory drive, that kind of stuff. But you got to remember all the little things too, all the little things that make it go also, because it all works together. We all know that. But yeah, that's what we'll be working on today. We'll see what kind of progress we can make, and I'll try to bring you guys along so you can see it all, and let's get going. All right, so been working on getting the dampener pulley put on and everything, and I kind of did a jerry-rig way, a hack way of doing this, probably not recommended by professionals, but I used a slide hammer. It was actually a bearing puller, and used that backwards in a way. I had it set up to where I could use what you normally use to slide this onto, and the fingers to clamp down the fingers. I used it backwards, so that would help kind of act as a centering thing to get the pulley most of the way on there. And I took the bolt, the original bolt I had, and ran it through, torqued it to 240 foot-pounds, just like the instructions say. I'm in the process now of trying to find the new bolt that came with this. It's part of the problem with doing this kind of on scatterbrain, not being organized, and just kind of going at it, not every day, but like every other weekend is almost what it feels like. But yeah, so I'm in the process of trying to find that. I ran into an issue that I did not think was going to be an issue, but it is. So I want to show you guys. I'm going to try to get y'all in there where y'all can see it. All right, so there's a torque converter bolt. Now, these are ARP bolts that I just got on Summit. I just looked up, you know, torque converter bolts for 4L80E, and this is what came up. One of the things that came up, so I got them. I don't know if you can really tell there. I'm gonna try to get y'all the best shot I can. I cannot see what I'm doing right now, but that head is too tall. It hits the back of the block and it hits the pan. So I'm gonna have to look at what I need to do to fix that. I actually, and it worked out. And this is where I say I have my jerry-rigged way of being able to get this thing on there. I'm not going to do it to actually put the new bolt in and tighten it down 100%, because I don't want to potentially cause problems back there. But I had got that one bolt on there, and I tightened it down, and then I spun the engine around to get to the next one, and I got to the next one. I was kind of having issues, but while I was looking at it, I was like, I don't think that this is going to clear. Mostly, I mean, it should be fine on the bell housing side of things. I mean, there's plenty of room there, but I mean, you see, which I don't know if that's right either, but see that clearance we have to the block. Now there is clearance there. It's not touching the block. The flywheel, or the flex plate, whatever you want to call it, spins freely, but we are obviously having issues with the bolt being able to clear the block and the pan. Now the pan potentially can get a different pan, and that might fix things. The block, you're kind of out of luck there. So I'm gonna see, I would figure, you know, kind of a button head style bolt would be the plan to go with there. I'm gonna do some looking online on some Facebook groups too, ask around. to try to kind of get some tips on that. If you are doing this and you are not, whether you use Facebook really or not, there are a lot of good groups on Facebook for not just LS swapping, but car stuff, period. I mean, I'm part of a group that's specifically for LS swap square bodies, so pretty niche group there. I mean, I know square bodies are hot, they're popular right now, which is very evident in the prices that they're going for, which is just insane, in my opinion. I mean, it's a good thing, because, you know, if I ever did decide to sell it, I'd probably get my money back, but I don't intend on selling this. But nonetheless, there are a lot of good groups out there. I mean, I know forums have been a big deal for a long time. I'll be honest, I kind of grew up in a period that I feel like the forums were really starting to get popular, and that was really before I started getting on the internet and messing around on the internet and that kind of thing. So I feel like forums kind of I think the Facebook and whatnot, maybe even Instagram, whatever it is, I feel like it's just like a new iteration of a forum. I mean, it's like Facebook Marketplace is like new iteration of Craigslist, really. But yeah, I'm gonna look online, try to figure out if a button head is the way to go there. I would imagine so. I mean, I still like it's still going to be very tight clearance. I mean, you really just have, and the camera will not focus, but you really only have that little lip of the flex plate. That's kind of your clearance. I mean, obviously there's more clearance there than what that lip is, but you're pushing it if you go past that, in my opinion. But yeah, I want to try to get that figured out. Honestly, I'm excited about getting this on there because really once I get that bolt in there correctly, I should be able to start putting the core support back together, which is going to be huge. I mean, it gets the radiator off the ground, kind of gets it in a safer spot, in my opinion. Right now, I really should be protecting that inlet side more to try to keep from damaging the radiator and the fins and everything, but it is what it is right now. We're getting there. I mean, I think last time I left you guys, I still have to fix that gasket here on this side, which I did get. Where did it go? We're going to try this, and I'm going to let you guys know how it goes. So a lot of people, I talked to, here it is. I talked to Off-Road Design, which is that's the place I got that adapter from. And I told them, hey, I destroyed my gasket in the process of installing it, and you know, because the kit came with the gasket, and I asked them, you know, kind of, can I get the gasket, because you couldn't find the gasket online, and they said, you know, probably just use RTV. The cost of shipping the gasket is going to be more than the gasket, so it may not be worth your time. I did manage to find this on Summit Racing. Now, this is for a Turbo 400, which, my understanding, sorry, loud diesel just drove by. That I was talking about. Okay, so this gasket's for a Turbo 400, which, from my understanding, a 4L80 is not much different than a Turbo 400. It has the extra gear. I think the actual overall length isn't much different either. I looked up all those specifics a while ago. I used to know them. I don't know them anymore. But I want to try this. I found this on Summit for like $3. It was what was the brand? Pioneer Inc. automatic transmission parts. That's where I found this. Now I will say I did find this is the other gasket, this is the one I bought incorrectly last time. This is the transfer case side. I found this from another place online. It was another website that I think it was like maybe $6 or something, but it had free shipping on it. I'll try to be sure to put a link to this either somewhere here in the video, somewhere up here, I don't know, or in the description, because it was a cool place. They did not have this, is the reason I went to Summit to find this, but they had a ton of stuff, transmissions, transfer cases, all that kind of thing. It's like a wholesale place, but I got that for super cheap, and like I said, free shipping. That was the huge thing, because I know stuff like that will kill you on shipping, because you know, it eats at you to be like, oh, I'm spending $6 and I'm spending $13 on shipping, that kind of thing. Which that probably would not have been that expensive, but regardless, it's not very fun to have to deal with that. But yeah, we're going to try this out. I'll let you guys know how it goes, because if this does work, I'm the kind of guy, I'll do RTV. If I can find a gasket, I'm gonna try to use a gasket for it. You may have somebody argue that RTV is better anyways. You know, I don't know. I'm learning all of this, so I'm not gonna argue any points. I'll just kind of go off my experience, and you know, this is my first time dealing with it. I know gasket's the way you're supposed to do it generally, so I'll do a gasket. But yeah, I want to kind of let you guys know about that torque converter bolt. We'll get it figured out nonetheless. That's the great thing is, if you have ever worked, and I say worked, you don't even have to have experience doing this stuff, but I mean, I used to work as a machinist, so I kind of understand bolts, where to get them, where the best places are to get them, and even specialty stuff. Sadly, we had we had a store here, local, that was just a bolt and fastener store. They unfortunately went out of business about a little over a year ago now. But I mean, you can go and get all kinds of stuff. You can get wheel studs there too. It's honestly such a great place. It's sad that they went, but you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. But yeah, we're going to keep on going here. I'll bring you guys back when I got some more progress, got another update, that kind of thing. All right, so we got the front end all buttoned up. Actually did find the new bolt finally. Got that squared away, got it tightened down, so I'll torque down. Did manage to get the one bolt, torque converter bolt that I had stuck in there out. I'm gonna have to go down, see if I can find some local at a parts store that are the right size. I did find, now this is a box of stuff that came from basically the old engine. I don't know what all these bolts are for. Now I did find these, camera will focus. These are really short hex head bolts. I think the head on these would actually work, but the bolt itself is too big. So it's not the right size bolt for that. So we'll find what we need, won't be a big deal. Try to find it local if I can, just to help speed it up and save on the shipping cost. Because I also don't know too if those, I would assume those, because it's part of the drivetrain, need to be grade 10. Grade 8 at least, but probably preferably grade 10. So we'll get that figured out. I've gone ahead and moved over to working on the core support for this. I'll go ahead and get y'all over here looking at it. So here's our core support. Now I want to get it all cleaned up, taken off as much as I can. I still have to get that off, and I'll probably take these little brackets off too. These are just fender mounts for, I don't remember if it's for the fender or for the core support actually. I bet it's for the fender. Just to give it something to mount to up front. So we'll get those taken off, won't be a big deal. Get it all cleaned up. I mean, obviously just sat around for a little bit, so it's got some cobwebs on it. But we'll get it all clean, we'll get it painted, it won't be a big deal. It's actually something I'm getting better at least for this stuff. I've not actually done like outside paint yet, but we'll get that figured out. I haven't decided yet if I'm actually, because it looks like this, because I did paint this. I came back and I painted it just in an aerosol can. So the original color of the truck was white, it's frost white. I don't know if this was actually painted to match in here. It kind of looks like it was, so I'm thinking I might actually paint this to match. I don't know the exact name of it, but we're gonna do the GM yellow and white for this. Kind of like my seats back there. I kind of got those seats to go along with the truck. I've had them for a while now. And I've gone back and forth on what I was going to paint this, and it may still change. That yellow and white's not a set in stone thing. It's just kind of what I'm feeling at the time. That's the one I felt the most, I'll say that. And I am thinking about maybe at some point, I'd like to do the stripes on the side. I think if I do yellow and white, I won't do that. I think I may do the white hood with the yellow, like the, I don't know what to call it, but it's like the gradual yellow stripes, like the three stripes on top that go like on the corner of the hood on each side. Don't know yet though. We'll get to that when we get to that point. We'll figure that out. But like on this though, I guess I am pretty much at the point where I'm going to have to decide what color. If I decide I want to paint this to match, and I kind of think I do. I think it's going to be an extra little thing. And I'll probably end up doing the whole engine bay like this. So I think yellow's going to be able to do it. Like I said, I don't know the exact color name yet, but we'll get that figured out. It's not the really orange yellow, I'll tell you that much. It's more the I call it the banana yellow or the lemon yellow. But yeah, I'm gonna work on this, getting this all sorted. Hopefully get this done today. That'd be great, because then we can actually go and put this on. But yeah, we're going to get going on it. All right, so we got the core support pretty well cleaned up, as much as I'm willing to do it. Should put it that way. It's not perfect, but you know, I'm gonna put some POR 15 on this, and from what my experience with it, it tends to stick better to like kind of your surface rust. No flaky stuff. You want to get all the surface, like all the stuff that can just fall off real well, but all your rusty areas actually tends to stick better than to like your bare metal. So we're gonna go ahead and hit the whole thing, do one coat, and then we'll come back and we'll hit it with another coat, and we may do 3 depending on what it looks like. But I've changed my mind on doing the yellow. More I thought about that. This side for sure is not going to be yellow. The other side maybe, but this side will be black, because this is actually what sits behind the grill. You'll see that. I don't really want the yellow sticking out there. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get this on there. To do this, I normally just use little cheap throwaway like foam brushes. Tends to work out pretty well for me. And I mean, you can get these. I think it's like I think you can get like $1 pack of these at the dollar store or something. Nothing too crazy here. You don't got to get really fancy brushes or anything. And these work out well because they soak it up. If you have a really tight spot to get into, that works out well. That's how I did pretty much everything that you see black there, minus like stuff on the accessory drive, but frame and axles, I use the POR, and then I put a top coat of just satin black over it, because this stuff is not good for UV. If it sees UV, it can deteriorate pretty quick, but if you put a nice little top coat over it, it's no big deal. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get into that. One little tip too for this POR 15 is you don't shake the can. It actually says on here somewhere that you stir, do not shake. If you shake, you may mess stuff up and you may have bad results out of it. So always be sure. It just makes you think, because I've always thought, you know, you need to shake the paint can, but just be sure on specialty stuff like this, read the instructions on it first before you just go about assuming anything, because it may end up coming back and biting you. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get this on there. Shouldn't take too long. Probably give it I think 30 minutes is what I normally do before I come back in and put another coat. It just really depends. It's kind of warm out today, so we may come out sooner. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get on there and we'll get to it. All right, so we got the first coat on. I went ahead and moved it over here out of the sun. I wasn't directly in the sun, but I was getting some little bits of sunlight through the tree. So this stuff lays pretty well for what it is. For being brushed on, it kind of smooths itself out. If you go, I mean, obviously I kind of get a little bit crazy down in areas like that back there. I kind of puddle it back there, but if you want to if you're going to do that, you really don't want any runs in it. Make sure you come back and swipe back over it. Help get some of those runs out of there. Obviously, you can still see there's some right there, as well as right there. But what it is, what my intent is with it, this is going to be great. You can obviously spend some more time getting it even cleaner. Use the correct tools to spray it. You can see there's another run right there. But you know, this works out well for what I'm wanting. And if you're trying to do the same thing at home, you know, you're building the driver. I mean, I know that there's some stuff I've done here that may make people think, you know, this is more show truck, but this is definitely a driver. It's going to be nice, but it's not going to be perfect. I've heard too many horror stories of people building these, and they build them too perfect, and they never want to drive them. I'm not going to do that. Now, I'm not going to say that you can't build it perfect and then drive it still. There are people that do that. I mean, I'll say if I had a little bit more time to do it, and the whole goal and deadline is on me. I'm the one pushing that on myself, but I'm just ready to drive it. I've had this thing for 7 years, haven't really done a whole lot with it, and this has really been the year of big progress, really this year and last year. So yeah, but I don't want to keep rambling on too long. We'll come back. I'll put another coat on here. Probably give it 15-20 minutes. Really, that side's probably somewhat close because it took me a while to get over here. You probably saw me make a mistake. Get into your nooks and crannies first, back here especially. I mean, because you try to get that after you painted, and you're going to get paint on you. It's just inevitable. And this stuff is hard to get off. If you do not wipe it off immediately, it's going to be on there for a little bit. I accidentally got some on my shirt, which, you know, not smart of me to wear a shirt that I kind of like doing this, but lesson learned, I guess. But yeah, I'll keep from rambling on too long. We'll come back when we go to put another coat on there. All right. So we got the core support. This is the base part of it. There's a bunch of little pieces that go on that I took off. We got the base part of it clean, painted, and everything. Like I said earlier, it's not perfect, but for what I need, it's going to be really good. I mean, honestly, you can see some imperfections when you look really close, like there. Mostly just from where I put way too much paint on and it's ran a little bit. I don't have it bolted down yet. It's just sitting up there. I came across, basically, let me just put it this way. I learned something on this. I got a whole bunch of body bushings for this. They're the polyurethane ones. They're from Energy, but like that. You can get these in black too. I think when I ordered these, red was just what they had. But we got that, and how this works is, and based on what I've read and kind of looked into, I think there's actually one option that I've come across. Sorry, I skipped it. I did this right outside, so I got a bunch of little leaves that fell on it and try to pick them out as I can. But back to the point, all these little mounts, they reuse factory oop, yep, see, saw an example. I don't have it bolted on there. I'll probably end up taking that down because I don't want it to fall and hurt somebody. But it's not bolted on there. And so, okay, you use the factory bolts and the little spacers is what they call them. I've heard two different versions of what that's called. It's a sleeve or a spacer. I would think of it as a sleeve. I can see how it could be a spacer too, though. But you're supposed to reuse the factory ones here. In a couple other spots, you shorten the factory ones. And then I think, because how they call this out is you got your 1 position, right there is number 2, and then 3, 4 is right in there, and then 5 is all the way at the very back. I think 4 and 5, they send you some. 3, you're supposed to shorten them, and 1 and 2, you use the originals. I think that's right. It may be, I may get that a little bit off, but I do not have the factory ones anymore. They were all that stuff was so old and rusted together that it's all, I mean, it was all one piece, basically, is how it came out. And I don't have those, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of finagling. I think actually, so I have my wife and I, we also have an 85 C10. I'm gonna imagine that these radiator core support bushings did not really change really for any of the square bodies. I don't know that for a fact. That's just what I want to kind of imagine right now. And so I may try to get the sleeve out of that where I work, and some buddies of mine, we have, at my work, we have a machine shop. Some buddies of mine work in a machine shop. I think we can probably get some scrap steel and just make little sleeves, no big deal. But the good thing about that is that can actually happen later on. It's not ideal to run it without it, I would imagine. It helps keep it from collapsing too much, and it keeps the thread of your bolts from eating into the bushings themselves. But maybe it's just kind of a get it together to go for right now. It might even make it do without that. But yeah, so if you're doing this, and say you're doing a full resto and the first time you're doing it, just like me, don't throw away everything. I haven't thrown away absolutely everything. That was one thing that I did throw away though. That was one of the very first things I took off. So just want to keep that in mind. You reuse some of this stuff. That's one of them that you reuse. But I'm happy with how this has come out. I still have to do, these are the pieces I'm talking about. This is the upper cover. That is your upper radiator bracket. I guess you want to call it, I don't know what you call that. It's basically a hold down, which I think I'm going to have to modify to fit that radiator way back there. You can kind of peek it back there. But I gotta get those cleaned up, put back on. Also these little vertical supports and your center support and hood latch assembly. Get those all cleaned up and get them on. But I kind of was beat for today. This cleaning it up is really what takes so long. Painting's not that bad, but getting it all cleaned and ready, that's really what takes so long. Which, I mean, that's what you hear all the time, paint and body work. 90% body work, 10% paint, whatever you want to kind of, whatever you've heard, I guess. But yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out. We'll go ahead and see what else we can get done. Oh, I was going to show you guys while I'm thinking about this. I don't have the drive shaft actually bolted in. I'm going to have to look and see if that's actually going to work. I think it is. I think so. That's a factory length drive shaft. So I wouldn't think it'd change much, but to give you all some reference, this is I mean, obviously it's a different motor, 4L80E with a MP205. This had a turbo 350 with an MP203. So I didn't really know what was going to change there. Obviously our transmission location has changed in terms of where it mounts. So in theory, I would have thought that we pushed back and we needed to shorten the drive shaft. I think that's actually going to be okay right where it's at, especially once we get the weight of the body on here to help push it down. It should get that at a better, it should compress that slip yoke some more to get it where it needs to be. And I think we may run into some clearance issues here on the front drive shaft. We'll see when we get there. Me being a dummy, I did not keep the front drive shaft. I actually, when I sold the transmission, the transfer case, and the, well, I sold those two as a unit. I could not get the front drive shaft off for the life of me, so I kept it on there. Oh man, if I had just kept that, would have thought about it. It'd make this a little bit easier. I can obviously test fit fairly easily. But there is a place local that can make these, at least modify. I would think that they can make them, but I know that they can for sure modify. But yeah, we'll go ahead and see what else we can get done. That may honestly be it for this video though, just for the sake of keeping it shorter. I know not as much has happened, but you know, the goal, obviously you know the main goal, but the kind of the sub goal or short goal right now is that I like to actually be able to fire the engine up. Make sure everything's good. I'm also, obviously I want to hear it. It will be extremely loud in current circumstances because of being open headers. I do still have to take the headers off and either put collector flanges or I can't remember what they're called. I think it's like a V-band type flange on there. That's the engine builder. That's what he has suggested doing. I am not a welder. I do not even have a welder here. I've only ever, and this, I say this like I've done it a lot. The only experience I have welding is with is doing arc welding. And I say experience, I've done it like twice. So not at all a whole lot of experience there. But my father-in-law, I think he may be able to help me out here. Also the engine builder said, you know, that's stuff that they can do. But yeah, we're getting there. I have most of my sensors in. The only thing I'm waiting on right now is a cam position sensor, which I believe goes in back here at the back of the block. But yeah, we're getting there slowly but surely. Thank you guys for tagging along. Hopefully you find something useful in these videos. If you have any comments or anything, feel free to leave a comment. You know, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a question, anything like that. But yeah, I think that's probably going to be it for this video, just to keep it short. But thank you guys for all support. We will see you all next time.